one more here. This one is actually on, is trad pub obsolete? This got me thinking about the circumstances of the web novel scene back in China. Many writers avoid trad pub because it is heavily censored and is full of bureaucracy and old school politics. And since now the trad pub scene in the US is getting more and more overtly politicized and censored, I'd say it's probably going to go obsolete, just like it is in China. Thank you for that, Rainer. The rise of the indie scene and making it more accessible to the individual. Tools and resources are more accessible to the individual, so people can, no matter how they want to publish their work, they can get it out there. In other words, there's platforms. If you want to do serialized fiction, there's platforms for that. If you want to publish novels, there's a platform for that. You know, there's all these different ways in terms of when it comes to marketing, when it comes to distribution, and it really just gives you the freedom as the artist and the writer to just sit down. If you want to start a project, you can start a project, see it through to the end, and put it out there. The marketing aspect after the fact, that's a whole nother ball.
That's the difficult thing.
It's the marketing, because I suck at marketing.
I think that's probably where traditional publishing still has the edge, and why they're still getting a lot of attention. Because like I said, mentioned before, is that with TradPub, the reason why I think a lot of people do like TradPub is twofold. Maybe one, people don't have the time to be putting, because being an indie artist is basically a full-time job. You're always on the clock. Like if you have an opportunity to say something about your work or something like that, you got to take that opportunity. You're running your social media. You may have your own website that you got to keep updated and stuff like that. So you keep people interested and engaged with what you have going on. So it is kind of like a full-time job in it and of itself that doesn't always pay, in dividends as far as that goes, at least not in the short term.
This is absolutely 100% correct.
So I think that's the edge that TradPub has. They still get that. They still attract that attention from aspiring authors who aren't published, and they're like, okay, I can get a big paycheck up front if I sign a deal with TradPub.
But now here's the thing about the traditional. The traditional publishing. If they have an author that they've signed, that author puts a book on the publishing company puts a book, it's on Amazon. That author will suddenly have, first day that it's on Amazon, 500 reviews.
I don't understand that.
In one day.
It's true.
What traditional publishing do is they pay people to basically copy and paste these reviews. They go on, people look and go, wow, that got 5 stars.
It's not fair.
Let's get it. It really isn't fair.
It's not fair.
I mean, I have personally, I've told people, they said, oh, I got your book and I loved it. And I said, well, please do a review.
Yeah.
And I've even, you've even said, even on our channel, leave us a comment.
Yeah. Even if it's bad.
Because that's the only way we're going to be able to grow. Yeah.
It's definitely an all hands on deck effort when it comes to the indie scene. So the TradPub, their corporate, it's very much runs like a machine. They have all these different departments and all these different roles like set up ahead of time. So, and they have a system. So when they have the author, I don't come from that world, but I know enough to know, as far as just simple business, understanding how business models work. So they have a whole system in play where it's a plug and play thing where it's like, okay, they're signing on a new author, and then they're going to run that author's work from manuscript to published work through all the different channels that they have. And it's all set up for them. Whereas the indie, you really got to kind of get your hands dirty. You got to wear many different hats and juggle a lot of different roles. Yes. And the indie scene is like, I've always said this, is like the indie scene is, it's not necessarily for everybody, just like entrepreneurship is not for everybody because of that, for that very reason. But at the same time, in the indie scene, it is very much community based, so it can be fun. I try to put it out there as it's not like you're dealing with corporate suits. You're not sitting there in boardroom meetings and doing this and that. It's really just about, are you passionate? Because I think the indie scene is where you find the artists, the true artists that have that fire within them, that passion for what it is that they do. Because you gotta have the passion.
Yes.
Because like I say, it's not always, it's not like you're going to come right out of the gates with like a 6-figure check in your hand. You know what I mean?
No.
No, that doesn't happen yet, but yeah.
So being a community-based thing, as far as marketing goes, it is like an all hands on deck where people play different roles. And you're very much, and I think that you're right when it's like, people don't realize even just the littlest thing, like sharing posts or, just liking, showing up, maybe engaging a little bit, or at least every now and then to let artists know that there are live human beings, real living, breathing human beings that care about what it is that you're putting out there. That goes a long way, man, especially in the indie scene.
Yes.
And I think some of the best fiction out there is coming from independents, because they're not
forced.
They're not forced. It's like, well, you have to write it this way.
I want chapter 17 by Tuesday at 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
She tells me I'm like a publisher's dream.
You are.
And I say no, because how I write, I have to be in a certain mood. I can't go into an office from 9 to 5, sit at a typewriter and just start banging away.
No. You can go home and clickety, clack, clack, clack. I got that, and I have 4 more.
Yeah.
Here you go.
But then
I always see Will in you guys' comments.
Yes, because Will is flipping amazing.
He really is.
Yes.
He's
And so
awesome.
is what's his name?
Oh,
Jonathan Rossignol.
Yeah.
That guy's flipping great
Oh,
too.
come on. Who's the one with the jokes? Always coming in with the jokes. The Enchanter.
Tim the Enchanter.
Tim. Oh, bless
Tim
his
the
heart.
Enchanter.
I absolutely
Yes.
love it.
No episode is complete without a joke from Tim the Enchanter.
Exactly.
He definitely adds some character to each program.
Well,
it's amazing. I love the last one.
I was going to say, what was the last one?
He said, "Do not break someone's heart. They only have one. Break their bones. They have 206. I was like, oh, still my beating heart. I flipping love it. It's great. He's great.
And he's actually been following us since
for
the
quite
first
a while.
season, really.
Yeah.
That's great. When you have that kind of support, I mean, it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing this for very long myself, and I've had people that show up regularly, and you just, it's one of those things like, I don't, it's not like I take this for granted. Like, I'm used to like getting very little engagement. It can be difficult to get engagement. It can almost feel like you're pulling teeth or screaming into the void at times,
Yeah.
But when you have those few individuals, what I always say is it's not about the numbers.
No.
I don't focus on the numbers. I want real engagement. In other words, like
Yes.
I couldn't care less about, having the numbers itself. It's like, how many people are showing up and showing me they care? That's
exactly.
the biggest thing. Like, not just, it's not just looking down the screen saying, oh, how many people are tuning in, or numbers wise, like how many people are leaving comments, how many people are speaking their mind. Because I feel like the more people that actually like show up and speak their mind, leave comments, or want to continue to show up time and time again, I feel like I'm doing something right at that point.
It validates your efforts.
Oh, for sure. And it makes it, and aside from feeling good, it just, it definitely says that you're on to something as far as whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.